Hello, hello, hello. It's not where we start, ladies and gentlemen. It's where we finish. I'm Anthony Gafa, and you're watching Unfiltered with Gafa. This episode, we're going to be crossing off how to maximize the return on your property. Assuming you've bought that property to rent out, so it's an investment. It's not going to be an owner-occupier. We'll cover that one off in the next episode. But in this episode, we're going to be talking about I've bought a property. I'm going to be getting a tenant in that property. How do I ensure I get as much money as possible? Not only on the rental return, but in addition, how do I make sure my property looks favorable to a new valuation from a bank because I want to get my second property? Do not become complacent. So I've secured the property, it's settled, I've got a tenant in there as fast as I possibly could. What do I do now? Is there any action I can take before I put a tenant in there to make sure I get more money, to get more rent? What are some of the simple ones? What are some of the things I could have coordinated after exchanging before I settled? So after I exchange, 42 days, sometimes longer. And what is the power of a delayed settlement? 42 days after exchange, I've now got my property. What can I do? Because I was very proactive. I mean, let's face it. I've been saving for a year. I've been saving for 2 years. In some cases, 5 years. So this period now is something you've been waiting for. It's not the celebration period. It's not time to become complacent. It's that time when you need to act. This is the difference between you becoming a successful property investor and learning good habits, not becoming complacent, and not complaining, oh, this is hard because it took too long to get a tenant. Not complaining because I didn't engage the right agent first time round. Not complaining because the photographer wasn't ready. So you've got that period, you've got that grace period. It's like the time that you've been waiting for, so act during that phase. You've bought a studio apartment. It's an opportunity to make it a one better. Coordinate the trades during that time after you've exchanged before you settle. You've bought a one better. Knocking up 2 gyprock walls and installing a door in an open area can convert that to a 2 better. If you're on ground level, apply to strata to get an ensuite in the second bathroom if the numbers stack up. 2 rents instead of 1. Rent out 2 rooms. If it's a home on a larger block, can you still add another bedroom in there? Maybe give it a lick of paint and replace the carpet. Spend 20 or 30,000 to get 5% more rent, 10% more rent that you were going to get. Is it now time to engage granny flat builders or even reach out to granny flat builders to get that quote for building the granny flat? Can I get that granny flat built through a private certifier? Do I have to go through council? These are the questions you need to start asking yourself. Buying a property and just leaving it the way it is will not help you with your growth, and it won't help you maximize the return on your investment week to week when you can get that little bit more rent. What other things can I do to increase my rent? If your rent's paid weekly, fortnightly, monthly, whatever it is, you always want to ensure you're getting as much money as possible. So focusing on what you can do to increase the rent. Like I said earlier, dress it up a little bit. Put that extra bedroom in. Should I consider getting solar? What does that look like? Depending on your managing agent, if it's a freestanding house, if you put solar on the roof, there's some rebates from the government for solar. You may be out of pocket a little bit. Can you cut a deal with that tenant to cover your expenses? How does that look? Can you claim their electricity bill to offset the solar installation? Not only will that make your property be more valuable, but that will be the difference. If you've got a tenant and he's trying to decide, do you take yours or the one next door, and yours has got a solar, do they take your property or the one next door? Say they're a duplex and they're exactly the same, and yours has got solar and the one next door hasn't. Well, that's more desirable. It's less time on the market. And how do you capitalize on charging that tenant extra money because they're going to get an electricity bill of absolutely zero? That's something you need to take up with your managing agent. That's part of the process. That's why you selected that agent in the first place, because they know how to approach these things. Can I add an additional bedroom while I got a tenant in there? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Can I offer my tenant an incentive of $100 a week off rent during the period of the granny flat construction? Do I need to notify my tenant if I'm building a granny flat, if that's my intention? These are the things you need to know. And to those questions, the answer is yes. No good getting a tenant in there and then surprising them. Oh, I forgot to tell you, you're going to lose your backyard. Or, oh, I forgot to tell you, we're going to be working on your roof for the next 2 weeks. That's not the way to start a relationship with a tenant, especially if you want them to be there long term. These are the things you need to take into consideration and act on. Because making sure you maximize your return on investment week by week to week, is the important part, because you want to be able to focus on buying your next property. So making this one a set and forget once the work's done is key. Before you get the tenant in there, add the extra room. Before you get the tenant in there, coordinate solar if you can't do it. While the tenant's not in there, make sure they're aware of what's going on. Getting the approvals for a granny flat. Keep the tenant in the loop. Offer an incentive. There are so many different things you can do to maximize the return on your investment. A lot of people get caught up with overcapitalizing. I know I'm one to do that. Sometimes I think I'm just going to give it a lick of paint and drop some new carpet down. Next thing you know, I'm putting another level on, or I'm doing all these different things. And is it good for my investment? The rental return says no, because I've overcapitalized. However, getting that property revalued is a good thing, especially when I was starting out. For me to have a property that was worth X amount, inject Y amount, and now that property's worth twice as much, well, that was always beneficial for me, especially when my income wasn't massive, when I was an electrician, when I was an apprentice. The money wasn't great. So everything I could do for the banks to look at me favorable is what I had to do, from increasing my rent, making the property worth more value. These are the things that need to be done right from the get-go. Don't come to them at a later date. But Anthony, I'm moving in. I've taken advantage of the first home buyers grant. Well, it's not illegal to rent out a room. It's not illegal to put solar on that roof just because you're living there. This is the greatest opportunity for you to take action, because you have to live there for a year. By living there for a year means perfect opportunity to knock up that extra bedroom. Maybe 2 extra bedrooms if you can. Make them lockable. Put en suites in if you've got friends in the trade. Instead of getting $800 a week, that property might get $1,600 a week. And the work can be done while you're there. You don't need to pay a premium because you need to get it done in a window of 2 weeks. Do the work while you're living there. Take advantage of your friends in the trade because they've taken advantage of you. Take advantage of apps such as Airtasker. Get on Airtasker, get multiple quotes, get the job done. Don't take it too personal. Don't get too involved. It's an investment property. The final touches need to be done in a professional, craftsman-like manner, but you're not designing your final home with marble flooring, silk-lined walls. This is an investment property. It needs to be done to standard. It needs to be done right in a professional-like manner, but you need to understand where you can cut costs without doing a dodgy job. If it's a house, now's the time to knock up that granny flat. Get the house revalued. Take out that loan to get that granny flat complete. There are loans that will value your property as though the granny flat's complete. There are opportunities for you to secure a loan that will recognize the completion of a granny flat. That means you're not out of pocket. That means you'll be earning an income before outlaying any money. It's a no-brainer. Getting those extra rooms in the house, knocking up that solar, putting energy-efficient lights in. There are so many different opportunities. You just need to continue to take action until that place is fully maximized. Then is when you call for another valuation. So you've dropped down the carpet, you've given the walls a lick of paint, you've taken out a wall, you've opened up an area, you've put that extra bedroom in, you're now getting another income off that property, you've got plans approved for a granny flat. Well, now's the time to call the bank. You've purchased that property for $1 million. It's now valued at $1.3 million. There's an opening to jump into your next property before you knew it. And you thought you were going to be bogged down with expenses. It's worked out in your favor. But Anthony, it all sounds too good to be true. Granny flat here, granny flat there. Drop some carpet down here, paint the walls there, show me the money. Put an extra room in, get more rent, put solar on the roof. It's actually not that hard. But with every pro, there's a con. What are the issues? What sort of problems could I face? You could lose your job. Well, get another job. I could run out of money, Anthony. Maybe I've spent too much. That's why it's up to you to get multiple quotes to ensure the work is delivered on time, within budget. That's what you've been waiting for. You've been waiting for this time, so make sure you're prepared. Get the right pricing. Don't overcapitalize. Don't use gold-plated finishes. Don't replace the roof if you don't need to, like I did. Don't put concrete driveways in if you can't afford it. You just need to ensure the money you invest has got a return. If you're not sure because you're new to the game, speak to your property manager. Speak to the local agents. If I do this, will it return this? If I do this, am I wasting my time? So just don't get caught up making that property something that you want to live in for the rest of your life. Make it a money-making machine, not your forever home. Be sure to follow me on I Am Anthony Gafa on all my socials, and my podcasts can be viewed on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, and all leading podcast platforms.